Final game for the Rockies in the land of make-believe in 2015. What's the giveaway tonight? It's Fernando Valenzuela bobblehead night. What's interesting is I recall that he was a great pitcher, but they got him swinging a bat this evening. Who knows? The Rockies and Dodgers, rubber game of the three-game set. The Rockies this year 5-10 against the Dodgers. They'll meet 3 more times in Denver before the conclusion of this season series. Charlie Blackmon played all 16 last night, and he's in the starting lineup for Walt Weiss this evening. Here is the Rockies starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Jose Reyes played a good portion of the ball game, then he was removed. Nolan Arenado all 16. Willeen Rosario doing the catching, second start behind the plate for Willeen this year. Christian Adames will bat fifth, playing second base. Kyle Parker, Ben Paulson, Brandon Barnes, and De La Rosa. Jorge on the mound. Alex Wood, another lefty. And that first pitch from Wood, the former Atlanta Brave, misses inside, ball 1. It's just been one lefty after another.
5 straight for Alex Wood since joining the Dodgers on the 30th. He's 3-4 in 8 starts with a 4.53 ERA. The Rockies faced him right before the All-Star break. If you remember, he came out, made 2 pitches, and then there was a 2-hour rain delay. So then he ends up coming back on the Sunday before the break, and the Rockies beat him in that game, beat him pretty good. Gave him 7 earned runs, 10 hits, and 5 2/3 innings.
He's coming off a rough outing in Arizona. He lasted just an inning and a third, gave up a bunch against the Diamondbacks. And he gets Charlie on a ground ball to first. Chase Utley is at first base tonight. Let's take a look at the Dodgers defensively. Only 3 of their 9 players were on the opening day roster this year. Justin Ruggiano just came back to the Dodgers a couple of weeks ago. John Peterson was certainly on the opening day roster. Chris Heisey was not. Alex Guerrero was. Corey Seager was not. Austin Barnes plays a lot of catcher. He's playing second. Chase Utley obviously wasn't. A.J. Ellis was. So there's your threesome in terms of guys that have been with the Dodgers.
Well, Don Mattingly,
since April.
You know, both Don Mattingly and Walt Weiss knew when they left the ballpark last night.
This ball's well hit, but it's
almost lost in the lights.
Yep. Tracked down by Ruggiano.
But leaving the ballpark last night, they knew it was going to be a different lineup for both sides tonight.
I mean, guys like Adrian Gonzalez for the Dodgers, you knew he wasn't going to be in there. He played all 16 last night. And the Dodgers would be in a different situation if things were tight, as you look at Nolan's home run in the 16. That is the latest in a ball game, innings-wise, that the Rockies had ever hit a home run. And, I mean, that was flat crushed. I was talking to Todd Helton today for a little bit, and he made mention of, he said, at that hour in Los Angeles, to hit the ball opposite field, what was that, 15, 18 rows up?
At least, but you also had the heavy air because of the rain.
It felt like San Francisco, didn't it?
It really did.
Here's the 1-1. Slider for a strike, and it's 1-2. So here's the spray chart on the home runs for Nolan. And again, he was so excited, not only that he hit the home run, but that it was to the right of center field.
And we had to highlight it in yellow just because of that. And finally, I did it. I've been saying I wanted to do it, and I go out and do it. That's what the great ones do. Yeah.
Alex Wood gets a strikeout at Nolan here, so it's a 1-2-3 first inning for Wood. Jorge De La Rosa to the Dodger Stadium mound when we come back. game yesterday. He actually had a pop-up that wasn't caught in shallow left field, so he got himself a base hit. Did some catching last night. He's a versatile kid, athletic kid, and he's at second base, and he played some there in the minor leagues. Here's Don Mattingly's retooled lineup the night after. Chase Utley will bat second. Justin Ruggiano, who played the whole game in left field, will bat third. He batted leadoff yesterday. Corey Seager continues. A.J. Ellis will bat fifth. Alex Guerrero sixth. Chris Heisey will bat seventh. John Peterson in center field batting eighth. And then Alex Wood. Jorge De La Rosa has been just okay in his career against the Dodgers, but his first victory this year may have been the best game he's thrown all season, and that came right here in this ballpark.
So this year he's 2-0 with the 4.15 ERA against the Dodgers. Prior to that, as you mentioned, he was just 7-10 in 20 starts. So he's figured out, hey, this is a pretty good place to pitch. He's coming off a performance where he got a no decision down in San Diego. The club got the win, though, and that's the bottom line.
And the first pitch is in there for a strike. Well, his last start at Dodger Stadium was May 16th, and this is what I was alluding to. He was a ground ball machine. He allowed just 2 hits and 7 1/3 and did not give up a run. He dominated the Dodgers that day. It was his first victory of the season. So today he goes for his 10th win of the season. Comes in at 9-6.
And that's when he really started to break out that split finger more, in that game against the Dodgers where he's getting all the ground balls.
2 balls and a strike on Austin Barnes.
And because of that, he's throwing more split fingers than he is straight fastballs. I mean, what can you say that about a starting pitcher? I'd be hard pressed to remember one guy that is that way. A reliever, sure, but not a starting pitcher.
And that's in there for a strike. No, I'd agree with you. It's really unusual to see a secondary pitch of any kind thrown more than one's fastball for a starter. But a splitter in particular. Here's the 2-2. And this is on the ground to second. And a nice play over there by Christian Adames. 1 out. So here's the Rockies defensively tonight.
First baseman, number 26.
Kyle Parker's getting a start in left. Charlie's back in center. Brandon Barnes in right. Cargo, by the way, is okay. He was going to get this day anyhow. Fouled a ball off his foot late yesterday in the ball game just fine. Arenado, Reyes, Adames, Paulson in the infield with Willeen Rosario doing the catching. And there's Kyle Parker. And the second start behind the dish for Willeen. He was camped out with Jorge in the locker room for a while, about an hour and a half before the ball game, going over the scouting reports and how they wanted to work each one of these Dodger hitters.
Probably spent some extra time when you're talking about Austin Barnes, the Corey Seagers, guys that you don't see all the time. You know, how do you want to attack them? Do you want to go, try to come inside on them? You want to throw more sliders that split? How do you want to do it? And there's that relationship we reference with between the pitcher and the catcher on a nightly basis.
And the 2-0 is on the ground to Paulson. Good feed to De La Rosa. And on the 3-1 putout, there's 2 gone. Justin Ruggiano coming up. Rockies fans, you can join in on the conversation. Send us your thoughts and photos, comments to Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and include the hashtag Toyota Talk. So with 2 outs, Ruggiano to the plate. 1 for 7 last night. He had a double, a couple of strikeouts.
The double came in the first inning.
And scored the first run for LA. Just kidding Chris Russin. With Jason Gurka being inserted into right field last night, Rusin made the start. That's like a trivia question. Who started for the Rockies? I had to think about it for a second, but I was kidding him in the clubhouse today. I said, too bad there wasn't a re-entry rule, because he would have been the #1 candidate of pitchers to go out there and play the outfield. He's the best athlete.
I'm sure he's thinking the one night that we run through all these players and I had a chance to go play a different position, I had to be the starting pitcher.
Two balls and a strike.
By the time I finished my book last night, I mean, I had marks all over it. The pitchers up at the top of the chart, down at the bottom, trying to add up the number of at-bats.
Yeah, I tweeted took a couple photos of it and tweeted it out. And as I think I put, it looks like a 5-year-old coloring book, but not that neat. According to Elias, Gurka's the first pitcher to play a position other than pitcher in Rockies history. This ball's well hit to center field. Charlie leaps, and this one he can't catch. And Ruggiano on his way to third with a triple. That ball just kept carrying and carrying.
And it did. I think Charlie thought he was running out of room. And so
looking at the replay right now.
Yeah, because he gets back there, he kind of stops and then waits to time his jump, and it goes off his glove, but he's still 2 or 3 feet away from the wall. So he leaps now. Ball goes off of his glove, and still had another foot of room.
Yeah, it's easy to sit up here and watch on video and say, man, if he just moved all the way back to the wall, he would have caught it without having to jump. But you don't realize that. And it's also, I think, a little more difficult, Huey, isn't it? Because you're going to your glove side. If you're going to your throwing side, you can literally reach out. Not that you can't with your glove, but it's a little more awkward. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you want to have your glove. You're taught to run with your glove close to your side, so you don't want to reach out then and then try to catch the ball.
2 strikes on Corey Seager. Well, this young man's been impressive so far. He's hit 10 of his first 11 starts. He's got 6 doubles, a home run. He's batting .419. He's entered the big stage here in Los Angeles with a splash. 0-2. Whoa.
Good catch.
Joe Walt was very complimentary of the work that Willeen did behind the plate in his other start a few days back.
Well, that's why he's getting the start tonight.
Not easy, too, because he really has been focused on being a first baseman this year. It's not like he's forgotten how to catch, but I mean, to go back there at this level, it's that's a different deal. Good pitch. So De La Rosa with a slider fans Corey Seager. Ruggiano left at third. We'll go to the second, scoreless in L.A. by clean, crisp Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. All right, some of the records last night. The teams combined to use 58 players. Both that and the fact that 24 of those were pitchers are Major League single-game records. The latest home run ever hit by a Rocky last night, Nolan Arenado. The Rockies used 13 pitchers. That is a big league record. Rockies used 30 players, a National League record. It tied a Major League record set back in 1972. Initially, the Dodgers tied a season high with 3 miscues, 5 hours and 23 minutes, 453 pitches thrown. And Willeen grounds to short, 1 out. Let's check in with Ryan Spilborg. Spilly.
I think the best part about last night was kind of a byproduct of Carlos Gonzalez hitting his foot on a foul ball. It was because you had to use a pitcher because the Rockies are out of position players to play right field. So here's Walt on how he picked him.
That's what I asked in the dugout. I said, who's a good power shagger? And Gurka was their guy. So
I don't know. I was pretty much blacked out because I was so nervous. I was just praying the ball wouldn't be hit to me. And, of course, a new player in a new position, the ball was hit to me, and I was just making sure I didn't miss it.
I told Cargo he better be careful not to get Wally pipped by Gurka.
I think the best part of that entire thing was watching Charlie Blackmon walk up to Gurka and kind of give him the idea, hey, you see this whole outfield? I'll cover it. You just catch the balls in front of you. I do have a bone to pick with the 13 pitchers used. I still think we're considering him a position player because he never went on the mound. Huey, you got to explain that to me. How is that considered a pitcher being used in the game?
Because he's listed as that on the official roster.
So even if the pitcher goes into the game and never throws a pitch, just goes on defense or runs or pinch hits, he's considered a pitcher used in a baseball game.
Yeah, that's the way the definition goes. I'm with you, though. I look at it as, yeah, he was a pitcher, but he was playing a position. So there's only 12 pitchers used, but still it goes down to the books as 13. I want to be part of a record, so I think 13.
It just added to the strangeness. Do you remember back, and this has been done before, but I remember the Mets used to do it with Roger McDowell and Jesse Orozco. Orozco made more appearances than anybody in the history of baseball. And Roger McDowell, they were teammates with the Mets. Roger now the longtime pitching coach for first Bobby Cox, now Freddie Gonzalez with the Braves. Davey Johnson would have one of them, if you wanted to go left, right, left, because they were both really good athletes and could shag. So he'd put one in the opposite corner. There's a base hit to right center field. Good to see Kyle Parker get a knock. He'd been in a real rough patch, 1 for 36. But anyhow, one would be in, say, right field if there was a right-handed batter, and then the lefty would come up and Roscoe would come in. McDowell would go out and play the corner outfield spot, and they go back and forth that way.
So real quick, let me finish that for Walt. A power shagger, what that means is one of the pitchers goes out there during batting practice, and he'll play an outfield position, and he just runs down every ball he can. That's what he means by a power shagger. Oh, he just dropped that.
Alex Guerrero had what should have been a relatively easy play to end the inning, and Ben Paulson says thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll take it. It is an error on Alex. He thought he was closer to the wall than what he was. He started to get the short arm. 3rd error of the season for Alex.
So 1 strike on Paulson after the Parker single. And this is knocked down by Wood. And he's going to get Ben at first base. So middle of 2, no score thus far. Sports is brought to you by your hometown Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Wednesday night in Tinseltown, no score. Rockies and Dodgers, bottom of the second inning. A.J. Ellis, the veteran catcher. As you look at traffic, still flowing pretty tightly on the 110. And De La Rosa's first pitch of inning number 2 is down low, a fastball. Alex Guerrero on deck. Two and 0. Dodgers after the loss yesterday, 6 and 8 in extra inning games. The Rockies after the win, 3 and 4 extra inning games. And that's a strike. 2 and 1.
Well, tonight it's going to be which team can get after the starting pitcher the earliest to get back into the bullpens.
The one thing about last night's game is there were so many pitchers down there. Nobody really got overused. In fact, the first Rockies long man to go in was Christian Bergman, and then the Rockies scored a run, so Axford came in, and they, unfortunately for Johnny, gave up a run, so the Rockies didn't have Bergman at their disposal. Then David Hale's another guy that could perform, long haul duties. And then the Rockies scored on the Arenado home run. This one's got a chance to go, and it will. A.J. Ellis with his 6th home run of the year. He takes De La Rosa deep, and it's 1-0 L.A.
17th home run. Jorge's given up 14 to right-handed batters. AJ reached out for this. With full extension. Belt high fastball. Pretty loud sound off the bat.
Alex Guerrero's got a lot of pop, takes a swing and misses. Good curveball. All right, it's a great trivia question. So who was eligible to play? Everybody was eligible to play, but clearly starting pitchers weren't going to get involved last night, and didn't play for the Rockies. They used 30 players.
Are you throwing it out there for other people, or?
Well, since we don't have a phone line into the. That's a fair ball. No, it's not a fair ball. Laz says it's foul ball. Excuse me. No, we don't have a phone line, so we're not taking calls tonight. I know you know the answer. On line 3. And on line 3, who do you have? No, that's wrong. Sorry. Miguel Castro is the right answer. We were kidding with Wallace. Did you hear from his parents today? And he said, yes, yeah. I told him he'll get a participation ribbon at the end of the year.
Walt had a couple good lines today. That would have to be number 1 for me.
Yeah, that was a good line. The line that Spilly led to a few minutes ago, when he told Cargo, you better look out, you may get Wally pipped. And for those that don't know that story, and sometimes we assume that some widely told baseball stories everybody knows, but that's not fair. So the Wally Pipp story is Wally Pipp was a starting, first baseman for the Yankees, and was he injured or sick or something, and Lou Gehrig stepped in for him. And as we all know, then Lou Gehrig went on to play 2,131 straight games, the Iron Horse, and thus the line, he got Wally pipped.
And that line is used don't say on a daily basis, but quite frequently in a major league clubhouse. Hey, don't get pipped. You don't want that.
This ball is well hit left center field, but Parker is out there, and Kyle makes the grab, and Guerrero's retired. Spilly, you want to embellish that?
Well, the Wally Pipp story leads to another great story. Vin Scully, who was last night here for all 16 innings, I was told the Dodgers are fine for keeping him up the entire game last night. But Vin Scully's record in 2 days, he did it in 1989. He did a day game in Houston, flew and ended up catching the rest of the Dodgers game. 45 innings of calling baseball games in 2 days. And he said after those 2 days, he had a telegram from a really close friend of his that said Lou Gehrig is a wimp.
Yeah, that was great. It was a buddy of his who was a writer down in San Diego. And if you're saying, how did he fly in and still do the Dodger game? Vin, as again, many of you know, did the game of the week for many, many years. So he was doing the game of the week at Wrigley Field in Chicago. That game went 10 innings. And as Spilly said, he flew down to Houston, and he got there literally 5 minutes before first pitch. He sat down and he started calling that ball game. And that game
went 22 innings.
22 innings. And then the next day, wouldn't you know it, they go another 13.
So last night was nothing for him.
No, it's nothing for him. He has an endless supply of stories. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And you know what? We walked in, we kind of slugged our way in today, and he was fresher than any of us. He had a nice meeting today. Nolan Arenado came upstairs to meet Vin in the booth and spent about 20 minutes. Vin was, as we all are, really impressed with Nolan as a young man and singing his praises.
I know it was a thrill for Nolan growing up in this area to come upstairs and meet Vin.
3-2. Well, Spilly, the first thing, Spilly, you've told this story before. The first thing you did after you played your first game at Dodger Stadium was you raced home and did what? Do we lose Spilly?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
there
go
we
ahead.
go.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
I said I'd sprinted home, and I played at Dodger Stadium before. I grew up watching hundreds of Dodger games, but the biggest thrill for me was watching this ball get caught by Kyle Parker in left field. I loved hearing Vin call. He was saying, Ryan Spilborgh's a UC Santa Barbara grad 90 miles north of Los Angeles. And it was great. It was such a thrill for me because I knew I made the big leagues. And that was the voice inside my head. Of course, years later, I hear him making a call. Ryan Spilborgh's a UC Santa Barbara graduate north of from Santa Barbara, 90 miles north. It was like the same thing, but what a thrill for me to get to meet Vin. What a thrill for me to hear him call. I mean, that is most guys in Southern California's dream, is to have Vin Scully announce your presence in the major leagues.
I saw a poster today. This is slowly held. Nice play by De La Rosa, and he's going to get Jock Peterson at first. I'll tell that next little story about Vin when we come back. Nice play by Jorge. He gets a little hug from his catcher, Willie Rosario. Home run by A.J. Ellis. It's 1-0 Dodgers. Dodgers leading on the A.J. Ellis home run 1-0. The Rockies left Brandon Barnes, De La Rosa, and then the top of the order in the third. Who wants tacos? When the Rockies score 7 or more runs, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Do it between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Liv Moss at Taco Bell. So I saw this poster of Vin. There's a ton of items one can purchase that has Vin's likeness on it around the ballpark and around the city of Los Angeles. And it was a poster, and it had his Hall of Fame induction into the broadcasters wing of the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. You know what year it was that he went in?
I don't remember.
1982. Does that give you an idea? That's 33 years ago.
Wow.
Usually when you're going into the Hall of Fame like you just did in Wyoming, they're patting you on the back, and you're also wiping your chin too at the same time. That's why we're so proud of you to go in so early, by the way. But for Vin, how about that? 33 years.
66 years for him
strong.
now. Yeah, still belting it out after all these years and coming back for one more next year. Treasure I have from Vin is he autographed a baseball for me.
There's a whole line of people that wait to get his autograph naturally every day outside the Vin Scully press box. One and two on Brandon Barnes. And that's a good fastball. Right on the inside corner. Kind of a herky-jerky motion from Alex Wood.
And then he drops down to the side, lower 3/4 and over the top. Then September 21st is the last Purple Monday of the season, where Purple win prizes, and the first 5,000 fans will receive a Purple Monday hat.
So here's De La Rosa, and Jorge takes a strike. Alex Wood out of the University of Georgia, drafted by the Atlanta Braves.
A second-round pick, 85th overall, former Bulldog.
Well, last time the Rockies faced him, and you touched on this, they peppered him around pretty good. Kept them off balance so far, at least the first time through the lineup.
Most guys want to use their height. He's 6'4", so to create that downward plane, he doesn't. So he'll drop down onto the back leg. Watch him really sit on that and reach out, and then sling it from the side.
Two outs. Charlie Blackmon will take his time making his way to home plate, giving De La Rosa an extra few seconds to sit down.
Now this is a stall tactic. Get in the box, kick the dirt, maybe take a couple practice swings.
Yeah, I'm sure you got this question a lot today. Hey, what time did you get up? You know, that sort of thing. For a player, especially, I mean, the Rockies are in the midst of playing 21 straight ball games over 20 days. And a guy like Charlie, who's out there virtually every day, I mean, you're flat exhausted. But, Huey, when you play, I mean, I know this as a broadcaster, it's hard to go right home. You're still kind of wired to go right home and go right to bed, even though it's the middle of the night as it was last night. A player, I would assume you guys can't just go right home.
At least 2 more hours afterwards.
You're going to sit in your room, maybe on the computer,
so
watch
we got back.
TV,
what time did we get back to the hotel? About 1 o'clock, 1:15?
Yeah,
around there.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, so for a player, he's not going to go to bed minimum until 3 o'clock. Minimum.
Yep. You're going to get something to eat.
Get something to eat. Maybe chug a couple bottles of water to rehydrate after being out on the field that long. And now you go to bed. So you go to bed at 3:30. You get your 8 hours. It's 11, 12 o'clock before you get out of bed.
2-2 and slowly hit to the right side. So Alex Wood has allowed just one hit. That was a Kyle Parker single with 2 outs in the second. 1-0 LA. Strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag RMDataStrongFan, and we'll try to get you into a game broadcast before the end of the season. Brought to you each night by T-Mobile. Dodger Stadium, the place, with Jeff Houston and Ryan Spilborghs. I'm Drew Goodman. Alex Wood is going to lead off here in the third against De La Rosa. Well, he's allowed a triple and a home run. A home run to A.J. Ellis. This ball's fouled off. What should not be lost upon Rockies fans is trip of 10 games through San Diego, Seattle, and now down here concluding in LA. The Rockies are 5-4, so they've had a good trip. And Walt was, I think, really proud of his team last night. This ball's well hit to right. Barnes will retreat and make the catch. He was especially proud of just how they kept competing throughout the evening, and you had, so many different moving parts.
Number 65.
After a tough loss on Monday, when the Rockies really played hard and well against Clayton Kershaw.
And it started with that 4-game set down in San Diego with the unusually hot weather down there, very humid, 93 degrees on the Thursday night or Thursday day game.
Austin Barnes takes a strike.
Think about how many, you said it, moving pieces in last night's game. And in a normal 9-inning game during the regular season without the expanded rosters, there's still going to be 20 or 25 moves that are going through your head. But now you add extra guys and you can mix and match and do different things.
I would probably think it's even more difficult to manage, because sometimes when your options are limited and you're used to a certain pattern of, okay, I have my 2 lefties and I'm going to save, say, Boone Logan for Adrian Gonzalez in
trying
the
to get
7th
him in the
inning
7th
plus,
or 8th,
right?
yeah.
But when you have so many guys at your disposal, it can almost make things more complicated. Two-strike count on Barnes. Splitter in the dirt, blocked nicely by Rosario. With every challenged call, the Subaru Eyesight Review will determine the outcome. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. That's a real good curveball. A lot of bite on that.
A couple of those tonight. Barnes went to school just up the road in Riverside.
This is off the very end of the bat. 2 outs. I'll bring up Chase Utley.
Talk about the 10-game road trip. But since August 27th, the last off day for the Rockies, they have one tomorrow. Played 20 games, 64 hours and 11 minutes of game time. A quick 237 up in Seattle last night, 523, a doubleheader, walk-off win, walk-off loss. You name it, it's happened during these last couple weeks.
And the other thing we haven't mentioned, talking to some of the guys, last night was played in a heavy mist for most of the 5 hours and 23 minutes. And as Charlie Blackmon described it to us, he said it wasn't like there were big raindrops, but it just got everything damp. That was the thing he reminded Gurka in the bottom of the 16th. Be a hockey goalie. It is really slick out there. And he said, anything I call for, get out of the way. And Gurka said, gladly.
We talked to Jason about it. Said, were you worried that that ball was going to snake on you when it went out there? He said, no, I wasn't, because there was so much rain and the ground was so wet that it just stayed straight. DJ with diving plays. Not enough to put the tarp on, and if they had, it would have taken an extra 5 or 10 minutes because they'd had to drag it out from center field. It's not even on the playing surface like it is at, along the warning tracks like it is at Coors Field. They hide it behind the wall. That's how infrequent they use it.
Well, Gurka's Utley is facing a 1-2 pitch. And the curveball's rolled to first. Gurka, when he went to Angelina Community College in Texas out of high school, was initially a center fielder. So it wasn't far into him playing out there, but it's a long way from Angelina Community College to the big leagues playing out there. The Astros, not only a game and a half out in the division, here come the Twinkies.
Hang on to your seat. The last 2 weeks will be interesting. They needed Keuchel to step up tonight.
That's one of those, Huey, that can have a psychological effect on the Houston Astros. All right, we lost. We're half game out, but we can go back into first place. We got our ace on the hill. We got the guy who started the All-Star game.
We're going home for 10 days. Everything's okay.
This is on the ground to short, and Jose Reyes is retired. Well, Fort McHenry's got the Twitter account fired up tonight, sitting in there with the Rockies Twitter folks, and he writes, when Alex Wood has that changeup going, he could be tough. A lot of weirdness coming at you with that motion. Hadn't heard it quite put that way, but
well, but it is. It is a lot of weirdness because he's 6'4", but then he doesn't throw like he is.
And look at that, Arenado. Got so many guys that hit the ball like just off the very end of the bat. And that is the third comebacker of this game. 2 outs in the fourth. Willie Rosario coming up.
An 8th ground ball for Alex. I hope the Fort's getting better.
Fort get that knee ready for spring training.
Fort came out to a pregame set a couple weeks ago before he had surgery. A good time out there.
That's the guys in competing the most. Shallow right. It's grabbed out there by Chris Heisey. And Rosario retired. And these innings going quickly. 1-0 on the A.J. Ellis big fly. Isotopes jerseys, t-shirts, novelties, and plenty more at abqisotopes.com. Albuquerque Isotopes, proud AAA affiliate of the Colorado Rockies. Spilly, you going to share?
No. Why would I share with you guys? You didn't share.
Well, hold on. You got a cupcake last night. What do you have? What is that? A root beer float?
Well, it's a retired float, and Scott Boris, my agent, said, I'm still serving you even though you're retired. So isn't that nice?
That's really nice of him.
Tell Scott to take 1% more from your paycheck and have him bring us ice cream.
You got it. But that's all negotiable, so I got to negotiate with him first.
Enjoy.
He's eaten more in the last 2 days.
You know, he's like you. He hasn't met a dessert he hasn't liked. Reyes throws out Ruggiano. Corey Seager coming up with one out for the Dodgers in the 4th inning. And Scott Boras, if you don't know, is a fixture at either Dodger Stadium or the Big A, depending on where his clients, or most of his clients, happen to be playing that particular evening. Scott's been at all 3 ball games here with the Rockies in town. Not only is Spilly a client, Nolan Arenado, who can't quite get to that one, Carlos Gonzalez, clients of Boras. So Seager has now hit in 11 of 12 starts. Kind of a punch single off the end of the bat, and that'll bring up Ellis.
19 for 45 for Corey Seager.
You want to tell him it's not this easy?
Well, for him right now it is. Get your tickets now for the Fan Appreciation Fireworks, courtesy of Great Clips, on Friday, September 25th, after the Rockies take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Good pick.
1-0 on Ellis. So we got into this discussion not just yesterday, but really over the last several days about roster sizes in September. And I'm all for, and I know you are, Jeff, you got your opportunity initially being a September call-up. I am all for the rosters expanding and guys being able to get an opportunity to play at this level and at least see what they can do first time in the big leagues. However, I just think that, like they do in the NFL, there should be a declaration, say at 4 o'clock each day, that, you know, here are the 27 or 28 guys that are eligible to play, and the other guys are on a big league roster, get big league service time, but they're inactive for that particular ball game. Now, the other idea I heard today in watching the MLB Network, which I kind of like, and I've brought this up before, I love the second wild card, but you play 162 games. It's grueling. It's a marathon. All of those cliches about the length of the season apply, and you're going to play one game between the 2 wild cards. Yeah, it's exciting. It's a game 7, winner take all. But why not maybe 2 out of 3 in that first round for the 2 wild cards?
I agree, because you're going to look at maybe 2 wild cards this year having better records than maybe a division winner.
You know, then one bad day and you're eliminated.
And you're done. I think that has more of a chance of being implemented than the roster size in September, because that has to be negotiated. Collective bargaining agreements coming up after the 2016 season, so it could be in the discussions there.
Spilly, you have a take on that, or are you still eating ice cream?
I'm still eating ice cream, and of course I have a take, and I had to listen to what you guys had to say before I start chiming in. I've always been the one that believes that it should be a 30-man roster the entire season long, and you just play with the same roster, the same set of rules the entire season. Of course, you wouldn't have the 40-man call-ups in September, but if you want to be able to still switch, mix and match like you're talking about with the NFL roster, you can. I love the idea of adding 2 more games to the wild card, but what it always comes down to is the amount of time, the amount of days, getting these games on the networks. And a solution to that is the very first game, it's a doubleheader. So the teams will play 2 games on that one day. The next team will play 2 games. The 2 teams will play 2 games on that day, and then there'll be 1 extra day for if there has to be that tiebreaker game. You got it?
I think so. And a nice turn there. Nolan got it started on the broken bat roller from Alex Guerrero, and that ends the inning. So we're off to the 5th at Dodger Stadium. It remains 1-0. recap. The Rockies trailing 1-0. A solo home run by A.J. Ellis. That's it. De La Rosa's pitched well. Alex Wood has really kept the Rockies off balance. You see Ellis going back behind the dish. The Rockies have one hit. That was a Kyle Parker line single to right center in the second. Parker will bat second this inning. It'll be Adames, then Kyle and Ben Paulson to face kind of the herky-jerky Alex Wood. This is switch hitter Adames marching his way to the plate. Christian will comebackers first time up. So one of the guys brought a mini basketball and like a toddler's hoop on the road.
Yeah.
And it's been up in the clubhouse. And every day they play pig before they go out for batting practice. And there was a very spirited battle of pig today. Long throw and a nice pickup at first by Chase Utley. Corey Seager from the hole fired low, and the longtime second baseman, who does have a little bit of experience when he was with the Phillies playing first base,
31 games at first base for Chase Utley in 24 starts. But not an easy hop, because that is an in-between. And it skipped off the grass. Chase Utley, soft hands, corrals it.
Kyle Parker takes a pitch away, ball one. Spilly.
Well, before the game today, Don Mattingly was working with Chase Utley at first base, giving him some pointers. A 9-time Gold Glover over there, just telling him how to pick it. And Chase Utley in his career, he's had 1,400 starts at second base, only 24 starts at first base in 13 seasons. So 220 innings at first base. He's only made one error. Love seeing Donnie Baseball over there helping that guy out.
Well, I mean, they had Ryan Howard there, and Ryan naturally wasn't coming off the field unless he was injured. Jimmy Rollins was at short. Pretty much set around the infield. Here's the 2-0. And it's 3-0 on Parker. Again, he has the only Rockies hit. The only man to reach against Alex Wood. And we see that, Don obviously was a terrific first baseman. And yeah, he does look strange in blue. 3-1 pitches are rolled to short, 2 outs. Buddy Black, for years the manager until recently the San Diego Padres. I mean, if you're a pitcher, especially a left-handed pitcher, you're really going to listen to your manager in that situation. You play shortstop, and you got Walt Weiss as your manager.
You listen. You're always taking information from different places and different people, and if you can give somebody just that one little edge, and maybe it was the edge that Utley needed on that play. That was a thing when I first started playing first base, is figuring out how to work the feet around the bag.
Inside, 1-1. That's way inside. 2-1 on Ben Paulson.
I'm sure Ben thought he was going to get a start on this road trip. All the left-handers they've been facing.
Yeah, and when you kind of get out of an offensive rhythm. 3-2. Anyhow, I was talking about the pig game, so there's a spirited game of pig. You know who's pretty good? Rafael Noah.
So you like it behind the three-point line?
He can shoot. I could tell. I mean, I've got a little scouting background. Rafa
there's no dunking on those hoops, is there?
No, there's no dunking.
Okay.
Because listen, I could dunk on that thing. That's swung on a miss. Fargo's got some game. Dickerson's got some game. Too many lefty jumpers, though. Fargo shoots lefty. I don't like lefty jumpers. On Root Sports is brought to you by the Ford Fusion. Power you want and good looks too. Ford, go further. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Bottom of the fifth inning at Dodger Stadium. And De La Rosa induces a pop-up on the first pitch to Chris Heisey. Reyes has got it.
That was a major league pop-up. It hung up there.
Number 31, Jock Peterson.
Standing underneath those, going, okay, hurry up. Come down here. Yes, they do, Mac. The curveball enough to put it in hitters' minds.
And that's a good pitch from De La Rosa. 0-1 on Jock Peterson. Jock in last night's game was 0 for 2 and a strikeout.
He has better numbers against the National League West than the other divisions. It helps when you play more games against them, but more home runs, more RBIs, just a higher slugging percentage. Wow.
Yeah, and he still needs to define his strike zone, doesn't he?
Well, his strike zone is when he steps in the batter's box. That's the definition right now for Jock Peterson. That is strikeout number 160.
So a bunch. So, Fort McHenry wants to sound off, says, don't forget about me, I've got a mean jumper. So I'm thinking that Mike, even though he has guard height, would prefer to mix it up in the paint.
You say just battle underneath the boards. Maybe use a little of the leg strength to push you out of the way. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think he's going to go at it like with a linebacker's mentality.
He might draw 5 fouls rather quickly.
That's why you get 5. Use them up. 0-2 on Alex Wood. Nice number for De La Rosa, just 64 pitches in. Rockies trailing 1-0. Curveball, see you later. These innings rolling along. The Rockies trailing 1-0. The Dodgers have only 3 hits off of De La Rosa, but Colorado with just 1 hit. We'll go to the 6th. Brandon Barnes will be first when we return.
It's the top of the 6th inning. A little bit of bringing it back to this date in history. Todd Helton hit his 300th home run against the Florida Marlins. That home run, of course, is day 1 of a long streak of games that I don't know if you guys remember, but the Rockies in 2007 went to the World Series. Well, that was the start of the streak with that Todd Helton home run. Always exciting to see or even talk about Todd Helton, let alone talk about the streak that Todd Helton got that team going on. I still will always remember my favorite moment of all time, Coors Field, Rockies history for me, Todd Helton's homer off, I can't say his last name, I mean his first name, Saito, Dodgers closer.
And that was
Takashi
Saito-san.
And that was the first hit they had off of Saito.
Well, it was the second hit all year because Holiday had the hit. That was the first time that you guys had a hit against him all year, and then Todd went deep.
Well, and that was 2 days after the big 300 home run. This day in history.
There you go, Spilly. Thank you. Go back now to Scott will get you something else to eat.
Yeah, I need a sweater.
Is he getting chilly?
You got the brain freeze.
Oh. This ball's hit a long way, but foul. Spilly yelled to him to straighten it out.
Straighten it out. Could you hear me?
Yeah, everybody could.
Ball down the right field line.
Every Sunday home game this season is Bike to the Game, including this Sunday. Get more info at Rockies.com/green and Bike to the Game.
Fastball's high.
Comes back with that changeup. It's been effective for him.
That was off speed, down and in. 4th strikeout of the night for for Alex Wood. The Rockies have been befuddled so far by Wood. That'll bring up De La Rosa, one of the pickups for the Dodgers right at the trade deadline. And though the Dodgers are way out in front of the NL West, we showed the graphic a couple of days ago. The three guys that they've picked up have not exactly set the world on fire in a Dodger uniform.
And one of those guys, Matt Latos, last night gave up the home run to Nolan.
Luis Avilan. And look at this.
Sid.
Oh, the wrong guy sat. You were hoping the baseball.
The baseball,
sat.
that's it.
I know, but Ruggiano had to sit down to make the catch. Honestly, that may be the second hardest hit ball by the Rockies, other than the base hit by Parker.
We have the outfielder in the off gap. Heisey playing in. And he makes a slide. Applause by Alex Wood. Another stall tactic from Charlie. We've seen this before.
The fastball at 89, not overpowering.
It just seems harder. There's all these arms and legs. There's every herky-jerky motion.
Quickly a 2-strike count.
.61 pitches. That's it for Alex Wood. 42 for strikes.
It's in the dirt, 1-2.
Anything under 15 is the magic number.
Charlie really upset with John Tumpane. 12 in a row set down by Wood. That's it as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. I spoke a moment ago. It's 13 in a row set down, not 12 in a row by Alex Wood. The Rockies' upcoming home schedule, final 10 home games of the year, is brought to you by Remax. The Padres in over the weekend, and then the Pirates will play 4 games against the Rockies, and then the Dodgers come in. Prior to playing the Rockies, the Pirates will be at Dodger Stadium this weekend. So the Pirates, who are trying to chase down the Cardinals in the NL Central, They're positioning themselves for the postseason. They'll be out west. That is line past Nolan Arenado, and Austin Barnes is going to have a double. Well, they've hit for the cycle. With that double, that's the 4 hits. Single, double, triple home run for the Dodgers.
Not a bad pitch from Jorge. That happens. Pitcher makes a good pitch. Hitter goes down and gets it. Pulls it inside the bag at third base. Second double this season for the youngster Barnes.
Cubs in that big series with the Pirates have won 2 of 3. It's another game tomorrow. Anthony Rizzo had a sac fly in the 12th to win it.
Jake Arrieta was trying for his 20th win tonight. Didn't get it. The guy in the conversation for Cy Young.
Absolutely. So a leadoff double. Utley at the plate. Takes a strike. It's 1-1. Chase has hit it on the ground twice to Ben Paulson.
That's what he's looking to do again. And he stands right on top of the plate, so it's hard to figure out where you want to pitch him.
And then he gets it to Paulson again, and Ben's going to have to dive to the bag. Out at first base. If he had flipped it to De La Rosa, it was going to be really, really close. Not that it wasn't with the dive. But Paulson, I think, made the right decision.
Absolutely made the right decision. Well, he pulls it. Jorge was a half a beat late getting off the mound. He watched for a moment. And then Ben was thinking, I've got to flip to him. No, I can't. I have to dive with my glove to the bag.
Well, after De La Rosa's very first at bat today, he kind of came walking through the dugout, shaking out his right leg. So that's been an issue so far this entire game tonight. Wasn't that he wasn't lazy getting off the mound. It's just that he's not moving so well tonight. I don't know if he tweaked something in his leg, but it is worth something watching the rest of the night.
The Rockies, Spilly will pull the infield in here. Comebacker nicely done by Jorge. Almost threw it high to Paulson. 2 outs. The infield can drop back. Ruggiano retired. And it'll come down to a left-on-left matchup with the kid Corey Seager.
Well, and that's how you field your position.
There have been 6 comebackers between what De La Rosa has done and what Alex Wood has done in the game.
But notice the finish. Okay, he's in a good fielding position. He's got both feet squared up, his body squared up to home plate, instead of falling so hard off to the third base side where you're trying to reach back across your body to make a play.
9 ground ball outs for De La Rosa. Seager 1 for 2. And that's going to find a crease on the right side, and it's 2-0 LA. Eighth RBI for Corey Seager.
And when things are going your way, they're going your way, because Seager has found every hole now in the big leagues. The base hit to left, and now he pulls one into the hole. Until De La's angry, snapped that ball back from Ben when he got it. It wasn't Because he made a good pitch. He's just Seager's in one of those streaks now.
He's found a hole.
Yeah.
A.J. Ellis, a home run and a walk. 2 runs, 5 hits for Los Angeles. The Rockies have been limited to 1. Even with the loss last night, the Dodgers 16-5 over their last 21 games, the best mark in Major League Baseball. It seems like every year there's a faction of people that throw darts in the direction of Don Mattingly, and yet the Dodgers, since he took over in 2011, have the 3rd best record in baseball. Look at that. St. Louis and the Yankees better.
And they're going to win the division again.
It'll be their third straight National League West crown. And some would say, well, heck, they ought to. They have a $315 million payroll, and I understand that sentiment, but this game is not played on paper. Just ask the Washington Nationals.
Well, and he's had to manage some.
He's had some personalities.
Personalities, thank you.
Hard smash, well done, Ben Paulson. He stayed right with it. Ellis is retired. Another run for the Dodgers. Barnes scores on the base hit by Seager. 2-0 LA. All right, Mark, thanks very much. And here's the playoff picture in the NL Central, the very competitive NL Central. So now the Cardinals back up by 4 on the Bucks. Cubs are 7 back. Pirates lead the Cubs by 3 in the wild card. Pretty much set, barring a complete meltdown by somebody, that the 5 National League playoff teams will be the Mets, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Cubs. 2-0 on Jose Reyes. Rockies have one hit, a single with 2 outs in the second. That's their only base runner. And now a 3-0 count. First we've seen tonight. Defensive change here in the 7th inning. Ronald Torreyes is in for Austin Barnes at second. The final out of the ball game, I would say yesterday, but that's inaccurate. It was today.
It's not officially a doubleheader.
Close enough.
It is in my book.
3-1, and Reyes hits it to right center field. Chris Heisey makes the catch. Alex Wood's pitching like Mark Burley. He's working quickly, and
so the line is like he's double parked outside.
Yeah, it's a line from the great one next door. Arenado a strikeout and a little cue shot back to first, or back to the pitcher. 2-0 Dodgers. Right now for the Dodgers, you'd have to assume after Greinke and Kershaw and Greinke, whichever way Mattingly goes in the postseason, it would be Brett Anderson.
Yes.
Those 2 guys, those 3 guys all hanging together. These pitchers speak a different language, don't they, Huey? They have to hang together. Nobody else would understand them, right?
Right, and then you mix in 2 left-handers between the right-hander. So now he's getting it from both sides. Greinke saying, okay, I got Kershaw on one side, Brett Anderson on the other. Oh, boy.
On Arenado. And a towering fly ball right center field. And again it's Heisey. 2 outs. Let's check our Data Strong fan photo tonight, brought to you by T-Mobile. In fact, it's brought to you by T-Mobile every night. There you go. Thanks for sharing, Judy. Willeen Rosario coming up, a ground ball to short and a fly ball to right. $15 in a row. Now retired by Alex Wood. And it'll be 16 in a row when this one lands in the glove of Jock Peterson. Two 2-0 Los Angeles. deal on your online orders at Papa John's. Great deal. Promo codes ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com. Do that this evening. Bottom of the 7th inning already here in L.A. The Rockies trailing 2-0. Jorge De La Rosa has pitched very well. Alex Wood just a little bit better. And it'll be Alex Guerrero, Chris Heisey, and Jock Peterson in the 7th inning for the Dodgers. Through Jake Peavy hit a home run tonight, the 5th Dodger pitcher to hit a home run.
Giant.
Did I say Dodger?
You said Dodger.
Well, of course I didn't mean that. 5th Giant pitcher to hit a home run.
Tried to keep up with Bumgarner.
Well, Vogelsong hadn't hit a home run since Little League, and he went deep against the Rockies. To Bumgarner, Peavy. This ball sharply hit. Plenty of time for Reyes, and he gets it across to Paulson, 1 out. Chris Heisey will be next.
Right fielder, Chris Heisey.
Pinch hit Bumgarner the other night against Aroldis Chapman.
How'd he do?
He walked.
Really?
7 pitches.
Those are 2 good athletes.
Bumgarner 5 home runs as a pitcher. Leads the National League.
It's kind of Mike Hampton stuff, huh? Heisey, a fly ball to deep left and a pop to short, and this ball's lined down the left field line, and Heisey will have a double.
Second double of the season for Heisey. I like what Austin Barnes did. Just went down and got it. Heisey against the Rockies in his last 10 games hitting over 300. So if you're Jorge, you're still fine. I know you're down by 2, but where you are in the batting order is what I mean. You got Jock Peterson left on left. You get him, get Alex Wood, no harm, no foul. And hope your offense can score a run or 2.
You want to know on Peterson.
I'll say this again tonight. The job that Willeen has done behind the plate. The second start this year catching.
Really done
you
nicely.
Don't see any rust.
Nope.
Well, you guys, Walt has mentioned that Willeen Rosario will catch De La Rosa for the rest of the season. So we will see this combination between De La Rosa and Willeen several more times before the season's over.
Good again for Willeen to show that he can still go back there. And I've said many times, he's handled, I guess the best way to phrase it, the demotion in the new gig at first very, very well. I mean, we see Willeen every day, and with the exception of the 2 times he was down in Albuquerque, and Willeen brings that same smile and a positive spirit to the ballpark every day. 1 ball, 1 strike on Peterson. Rockies been out hit 6-1. 2-2. Huey, what do you see from Peterson that needs to change for him to get back to the kind of success he had in the first half of the year?
Well, I think first of all he has to go back to defining a strike zone for him. I think that's first and foremost, because if you don't have that, you're just going to swing as soon as you see the pitcher's arm comes forward. It's one of the things we say is, you know, if he threw the rosin bag up there, he'd swing at it.
Runner going, and it's chopped foul.
But it's the league also finding out where the holes are. There's some holes up to Jock Peterson because of his swing plane. He doesn't stay in the zone a very long time. But if you do miss and he makes contact, it's going to go a long way.
He doesn't seem to have a two-strike approach right now.
I'm not sure he had a two-strike approach in the first half. I think he was getting hits before he'd get to 2 strikes.
He has tremendous power, though. Here's the 2-2. He's almost at that slider, 3-2.
He's almost like a left-handed version of Mark Reynolds.
Yep.
Where they're going to strike out over 200 times, but still hit some home runs and drive in some runs.
And a ground ball to Paulson. That'll be the second out as Chris Heisey goes to third, and that'll bring up Alex Wood.
Follow the Rockies with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live Rockies baseball. At bat is up to the minute with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat now.
Alex Wood, a fly ball to left, and he was caught looking. And a pitch in there from De La Rosa. In contrast, Wood's outing tonight versus his outing on Friday night against the Diamondbacks. Gone after an inning and 2/3, 8 runs on 8 hits.
Couple big flies, one of them by Paul Goldschmidt in that game.
And that's strike 2. He came in with a 7.11 ERA against the Rockies in 3 career games. Good block by Willeen. Next inning for the Rockies. Hard to believe, or the 8th inning. Christian Adames, Kyle Parker, Ben Paulson. Don't get any traffic at all. Rockies bench is stacked with options. Swung on and missed. So De La Rosa strikes out Wood, his 4th strikeout, and he leaves Chris Heisey at third base. We'll go to the 8th, 2-0 Dodgers. wants tacos? Fans follow at Root Sports _RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special. And the Rockies score 7 or more in any ball game. Right now, the Rockies trying to get even with the Dodgers, trailing 2-0. And some changes for you. At third is now Torreyes. He moves from second. So Ronald Torreyes in for Alex Guerrero. Chase Utley goes to his more familiar spot at second. And Adrian Gonzalez will take over at first here in the 8th inning. Alex Wood still out there. Christian Adames 0 for 2 against him. A comebacker and ground ball to short. The Rockies have had one base runner. That was a 2-out single by Kyle Parker back in the second. 16 straight set down by Alex Wood.
And a mere 72 pitches thrown for Alex.
Outside ball 1.
You're still only a bloop and a blast away from tying it up.
That's how you have to look at it. This ball's on the ground to Utley. That's 17 straight.
Johnson, the right-hander. J.P. Howell, the left-hander.
They all got to participate last night.
They did. Everybody got participation medal.
Kyle Parker. You know, I'll tell you something interesting that I just noticed. Parker fouls this down the right field line, and it lands on the dirt, out of play. Foul ball. Do you remember Parker's first time up? He hit that little flare and foul ground that Alex Guerrero is an easy play, and Alex Guerrero dropped the ball. It was an error on Guerrero. Call that baseball delay a game. And then Parker followed with a base hit. Or was that on Paulson?
It was on Paulson after the base hit by
Kyle
Parker.
You know what? I marked it wrong then. I had it marked in Parker's box. It was on Paulson. Okay. I stand corrected, because otherwise I'm saying this kid's looking at a perfect game. This is on the ground to short. And they're quick at bats.
Well, he's attacking the strike zone, working ahead. So you'll get some guys going up there saying, I got to swing at the first pitch because I don't want to fall behind 0-1. Or if you do take one, now you're in the ditch 0-1. Well, then the next pitch, if it's close, you swing at that. That's why these are quick at bats.
That's at the knees, a strike on Paulson. Comebacker and a strikeout on Ben. LeMahieu.
Just in case.
That's 19 in a row. Retired by Alex Wood. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Same story. 2-0 Dodgers. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Mike Shaw Subaru, always our lowest price sales service guaranteed. And by the Courtyard by Marriott, Western elegance in the cultural heart of the city. Gave a Fernando bobblehead away tonight with him swinging the bat, which may catch some of us by surprise. It did me. But Fernando, if you recall, did swing it pretty well by pitcher standards. He hit 200 with 187 hits in his career, including 10 home runs. We're talking about pitchers hitting home runs tonight. This is Ronald Torreyes. And Fernando, long-time radio broadcaster for
Pepe.
Yeah, next to another legend here in Southern California on the Spanish radio broadcasts of Dodger baseball. That's fair. Nice pickup by Arenado and a beautiful throw, 1 out. What's kind of been lost in this is that De La Rosa's pitched a terrific game. It's just they've gotten a couple of runs off of Jorge, and the Rockies have reached first 1 time.
That's a
against Alex Wood.
Yeah, the 13th ground ball out for Jorge. Couple flyouts. 4 strikeouts. And calling all college students, college night at the ballpark is Friday, September 18th. These packages include a game ticket and sunglasses. Visit Rockies.com/college. College night, September 18th.
Here's the 1-0 on Utley, and Utley lines it sharply to Adames, 2 outs. And that'll bring up Justin Ruggiano.
The fielder, number 27, Justin Ruggiano.
And I see Kenley Jansen warming up in the bullpen for the Dodgers.
We're at the bottom of the 8th inning. We could have. We could have played like the 12th through the 15th last night. At the same time, it's taken this game tonight. Curveball. This thing's flying. 45,906 in the house tonight.
One of those Fernando bobbleheads.
Well, the Rockies have the right fielder and the forgotten one up in the bullpen. Jason Gurka and Miguel Castro. Gurka played right field in the 16th last night. And Miguel Castro, the only guy in the pen who didn't pitch last night. And there was a reason. Walt was doing everything he could to stay away from Miguel, who'd thrown quite a few pitches the day before.
He said if he needed him, he was going in the game.
One and 2 on Justin Ruggiano. Outside. You know, Gurka went to junior college with. We're talking about him going to junior college in Texas, playing the outfield. Won the center field job as a freshman. Andrew Kashner at Angelina Community College as well.
And Kashner went to TCU after community college.
2-2, and it's pulled on the ground to short, and Reyes had it, lost it, and that'll be an error on Jose Reyes.
Second error in a Rockies uniform. He goes to his backhand. It just went off the edge of his glove. Oh, excuse me, the heel of his glove. The first angle looked like it was the fingertips.
That's low. That's Mike McHenry sounding off on Seager. Yes, he looks like he could flat out play.
I knew he could hit. I was wondering if he could play shortstop, but I think his footwork and his arm will play there. It's not going to be flashy. It's not going to be a rangy type of guy, but looks like he has the hands to make the routine ones, and that's really what managers want. If it's late in the game, ball's hit to him, is he going to make the play?
A crop of good-looking shortstops. Addison Russell over with the Chicago Cubs. Francisco Lindor. Carlos Correa, can't forget about him.
Correa has been hurt. He pulled a rib cage, missed the last, I think, 6 games, including tonight. And then gone.
Gone with the Pirates. His best position may be third. Here's the 1-2. And that's a swing and a miss. Got to get the out at first. He tagged him. So the out recorded. We'll go to the 9th inning. Rockies trail 2-0. On whether it ends now or goes for another 5 hours and 23 minutes as it did last night. Well, after 78 pitches, Alex Wood is going to give way. Can't be more dominant than he was, but he's going to give way to the Dodger closer, Kenley Jansen, out of Curacao.
Jansen has had a few days off. Well, with Jansen being in there, the couple pinch hitters the Rockies have from the left side have come out. The first one will be Daniel Descalso. Kenley Jansen, 31 of 33 at save opportunity, 75 punch outs, and just 45 2/3 and only 8 walks.
There's Corey on deck, but Daniel Descalso will be the first up here in the 9th inning. Rockies have been held to 2 hits. Excuse me, 1 hit. Kyle Parker's single back in the 2nd inning. Only base runner. I got confused for a moment because the scoreboard indicates the Rockies have 2 hits.
Well, maybe they're just assuming Daniel's going to have one here.
Let's hope so. 0-2. Strike 3. 1 out. Another pitch that looked like it was wide of the strike zone. Time for our CenturyLink link to what's next. Here's the pitching matchups over the weekend back at Coors Field with the Padres in town. Ian Kennedy, Chad Bettis. Boy, Chad's throwing the ball well. And then on Saturday, Robbie Erlin against Johan Flande. Sunday, James Shields and Kyle Kendrick. Dickerson pinch hitting for De La Rosa. You know, if it ends like this, baseball's a funny game, isn't it? Rockies used a dozen pitchers last night, 13 in all if you include Gurka going into right field. And tonight, Jorge De La Rosa, again, if it doesn't change, he's going to throw a complete game. Not the kind of complete game you want, because he'd be on the losing end. Last time the Rockies had a complete game thrown in a loss was a full game was Tyler Chatwood a couple of years ago. 2 outs. Charlie Blackmon 0 for 3, a couple of groundouts and a strikeout.
Kenley Jansen, there's been no rust with him sitting out 2 days. Former catcher.
And once they converted him, he got to the big leagues quickly.
He moved in a hurry.
Cargo hoping for an opportunity to tie up the game. He's going to go out in the on-deck circle for Reyes. That's going to throw all the big lefties he has on the bench this inning. That's ball 2. Foul ball.
Got him in the box. In the batter's box.
And that's a base hit. So the Rockies will get Cargo to the plate, representing the tying run with 2 gone in the 9th. Second base runner for the Rockies all evening.
Pitching for the Rockies, number 5, Carlos Gonzalez.
Well, late last night in the 7th at bat for Cargo against Matt Latos, he fouled a ball off his lower leg. He was able to continue the at bat. He ended up striking out against Latos and was not in the starting lineup today. But he was not going to be in the starting lineup, according to Walt, regardless of whether or not he'd fouled the ball off his foot. He checked out fine today. Walt taking advantage of the day off. Cargo's been in there, you know, every day for a while, so he'll get 48 hours roughly off between playing again.
And that's what Mattingly did with Adrian Gonzalez. Same thing. They weren't in the starting lineups, but now late in the game you have a chance to use them. You have to. So we saw Cargo 3 for 10 against Kenley.
Those deals where you're on the bench and you can't completely check out mentally, because you know, especially as the game was unfolding, you may get a tap on your shoulder. working up in the strike zone to Cargo. And it's 0-2. That's a familiar pattern for him, and it's a familiar pattern to Cargo. And a lot of power hitters to try to get him to chase up, especially when you have a plus fastball.
And all 3 pitches have been up. That one was way more for Cargo.
You know what? You get to this time of night, it's the macho time of night, as I like to say. Kenley Jansen pitches the 9th inning. He's pretty proud of his fastball, and he ought to be. And Cargo's proud of his ability to hit a fastball. So you know, it's not trick 'em time.
No, this is a big boy club.
Yep, this is a big boy club. It's a big boy matchup. Jansen in front 0-2. Stayed off that at 95. It's 1-2.
A.J. Ellis is trying to frame that. Trying to buy it. It's fine. You're trying to pitch up, but if you miss just even 3 inches, it's gone.
Yeah, Jansen changed speeds. He gets the strikeout of Gonzalez to end the ball game. And in slightly more than 2 hours, the Dodgers beat the Rockies tonight 2-0. Alex Wood, 8 shutout innings of 1-hit baseball. Jansen picks up the save. 208 to be exact, as the Dodgers end up taking 2 of 3 from the Rockies here at Dodger Stadium. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. You got to tip your cap. Alex Wood got a ton of ground balls. He only hit a 2nd inning single by Kyle Parker. He also struck out 5, did not come close to walking anybody.